Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Saturday, May 20, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern. When we realize we get to we come to the understanding that everything is energy. Now, let's say that because there's been debates upon certain things, is that let's say you have the body and the body is burned, right? Where does the energy go? When the body is burned, the body had energy, right? If the body is made from energy into form of the body, where'd the energy go? Energy goes into the space. As Lao Tzu stated, it is not the bowl that is sacred, it is the space that the bowl holds that is sacred. So you realize that even though we cannot, with these bodies, with the eyes that we have, we cannot see the particles, we cannot see the consciousness, which is all around us, inside of us, everything. So when we look, we see, of course, we see trees and the leaves, and we see all of the constructs outside of our bodies. We see everything, and as we interpret it through the brain, we believe that it is real. We look at it all and say, this is real. We never really give it much thought. We say, well, are these trees are they energy created, into form? So what happens when the trees burn? The energy goes back into space. Energy is never destroyed. It takes on other forms, or it goes to its original, which is space. That's why when I mention that a cubic meter of space has enough energy to boil all the oceans on this planet, you begin to realize the energy is everywhere. It's just that you can see it in different forms, but you don't interpret it that way. Now, the God within us is pure light energy. The soul houses the God within it. So when you realize that, so when we leave these bodies and we haven't learned what we are. So when we don't know what we are, what happens? We are guided into a repetitive process as the gods that we are, because we don't know what we are. So it's pretty easy to have a structure, the matrix, to have a structure where we all go through the process. We go into we cross over and we meet all of our relatives and friends through many lifetimes, and all of our pets and everything. And they're all there. And they're all greeting us. And we're so, seduced into that because we love attention. So we start the process again. And then we end up here, and it's a good way to contain us, isn't it? So when you don't have a memory, what do? Well, it's going to follow that. And you appear to look like you did in body, okay, which is just imaging. And then you lose your memory of that life. It goes away. It goes away from the standpoint that you don't, like if you wanted a turkey leg, you wouldn't know how to conjure it up. You wouldn't know what it tasted like anymore. This is what happens. And it's quick. So our senses in the body linger when we leave it with the God, but then they fade away. And we just don't remember. We don't remember what it was like to do this or do that or have this or have that, and it just fades out. So then we come back and we go into a baby body and we start over. Now it's a different life, right? Pretty much the same structure, really, you're in a body, you have some form of parenting, and then body grows, and you're programmed by other people's thoughts. Now this process has been going on for a very long time. And of course it doesn't make sense. The reason it doesn't make sense is because we would have memory, and then we would determine for ourselves, and then we would know that this was just a highly advanced holographic imaging setup for us. So understand how imperative it is. Now, it's important for us to understand the root of this so that when we decide to go within, we know what we're doing when we go within. It's an unknown, of course, but we know that our commitment to go within is true founded. So when you have this process, we all do, and you understand that the lifespan of this civilization has been massively messed with, massively, right? Reconfigured, restructured, and then reapplied. So that means that you have this process, and you're like, okay, so let's say just for giggles, you make it to 75, okay? And then you leave the body. Now, that's not a long time. You know why it's not a long time? Because it's proven fact that we haven't discovered who and what we are by then. Not even close. The majority on this planet don't even come close to that. That's not negative, but it's the process. It's how it works. It's how it's been structured artificially. So when it's discovering this for us. So when each of us, in our own way, let's just say that you could stay in the body, which we used to, a long time ago. Being 900 years old wasn't out of the ordinary. But the longer you're in the body, obviously, the more knowledge you're going to gain, the more experience you're going to have. All right? Now you stay at a certain, let's just say youthfulness, so you aren't plagued with deterioration, so you can literally learn, and then you become aware of who and what you are because you've had enough time in that body, rather than to have multiple thousands of lifetimes. Does that make any sense to us? When you can learn, and in 3,000 years, you're going to learn a lot of things, most likely more things than you would in different lifetimes. Because, see, you have the memory in that body that goes with you. It's never taken away. Each time we leave the body, it's taken away. And then we start from scratch all over again. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. So to live in the body a long time, like we used to, would allow many of us to transcend, which means we would know that we are a God within the body and that we were pure consciousness, and that we wouldn't be cluttered with this misconfiguration and dishonest assembly of energies. So it's trickery for us gods. So doesn't it make sense that how everything is so perfectly engineered that, okay, so you don't learn. You live to be 90, 100, all right, in this current time. But you never discover who and what you are. And so you leave the body and you start all over again, every single time. With once in a great while, you may remember a different life, but that's about it. So it's endless. Understand that. It is endless. we're never able to just understand that we move on. We're pure energy. We're, the gods that we are, we're immortal, we're pure energy, we never die. Okay? But we like to experience physical life, and look at how many of us get hooked on it. Many of us do. Where we succumb to lifetime after lifetime of being caught up in the material physical world along with the ego mind. So it's funny, isn't it? We don't learn. We learn in each lifetime. We learn, obviously, all of us do. But we don't remember that. So it's almost like the movie Groundhog Day. You keep repeating without memory. Every single, say Groundhog Day, he had memory. But in this, for us, we don't even have the memory. We don't even remember going into the matrix on the other side. We don't remember meeting all the relatives and all this stuff. We don't remember any of that. It's gone. So we come in the baby body, maybe with a little bit of residual, we might have an inkling, oh, okay, so I'm in another body. Okay? But that's about it. That fades too after about 5 years in the body. Can you see how crucial it is for us as a collective civilization to unify and to begin to understand that, and this is not anything to do with the ego mind, because we must choose to master the ego mind, or this redundancy on this planet will continue. Say, you just don't get far enough with the internal journey to literally identify the fact that you are not the body, the name, or anything. You are the God within the body. And you know that from your very fiber, your very core. And you know how it's laid out, say. And then you know how to direct the ego mind. And then you learn how to quickly manifest anything you desire. So see, this is what's been holding us up as a civilization, and how we've been so easily manipulated for so very long and tricked, right? So it's like we have amnesia all the time. Each life, we have amnesia, so we don't remember, and then we start over. We gain that experience in that lifetime, and then we leave the body, and then we start over. And we must break that cycle. And the only way to do it is to be able to stay in that body for as long as you choose to stay in it. By doing that, then you learn eventually. Some might learn in 500 years or less. Others might learn 3, 4, 5, 6,000 years. But we will learn, and we'll break the cycle. And then we flourish. Then we know we're always free. We're always blissful. We're always joyful. Because that's what we are. It's part of our energy code as gods. So you can see how the lower frequencies and deception have tricked us into this process. But yet, from me sharing this, and some of you know this, we're starting to figure it out. And people would say, well, haven't others figured it out? Yeah, Lao Tzu did. Jesus did. Yeshua. All of these different beings did. They understood it. They understood who and what they were to a certain extent. And others that the names have never been mentioned or have been stricken from history, as the history has been manipulated on this planet from day one. Written how those who wrote it wanted it to be, not how it really was. So we have all these pieces and parts, and everything is done that can be done to keep us off track. Okay, to keep us from discovering who and what we are. Now you can look at everything without judgment from the heart mind, step outside the mind, leave it alone, and just watch everything, you begin to understand how it's actually engineered. You know, you leave the body, follow the light, right? That's what everybody's been taught. Follow the light, go into the light. And actually learning that, no, why would I go into the light when I'm the light? As I've said many times before. Why would I go into the light when I'm the light? If anything, the light would be following me. And you know what? That's what it's doing, right? It's following you. It's chasing you. And it's relentless, and it gets most of us. It usually always gets most of us. Some once in a great while escape, but very rarely, because there's not enough of us understanding who and what we are. And this cycle has been going on countless millennia. See, we exist in this universe, which is actually made up of what? Energy, frequencies, compiled, interwoven. So it has a vast intelligence that our illusionary minds cannot comprehend on purpose. There are many hidden dimensions to everything and everyone within it. So we really do exist in the most fascinating, multi-dimensional, and infinitely mysterious field of conscious, intelligent energy. All of us. What do you think God is? Pure consciousness. Now, this divine harmonic matrix is vibrating with life all around us. It is inside us and is constantly connecting with our every breath, thought, emotion, heartbeat. Everything is it's like everything is exploding constantly. Somewhere in this universe, a new solar system is being created. Suns or stars. Everything is constantly exploding in an orgasm of wild, abandoned creativity right in this very moment. We have amazing sacred geometric crystals forming perfect patterns beneath the Earth's crust. Right now. While millions of animals, birds, insects, and humans literally are having intercourse in the most interesting positions. This is just a tiny tip of the iceberg as to all the wild, mysterious, and beautiful things happening on this planet alone right now. Now, if you observe nature long enough, uninterrupted, not in a hurry, don't feel rushed or stressed, and you just observe nature long enough, you will see that everything is always changing, including your body. We never do, like, let's say you walk a road, okay? And you're walking this road and you're looking at things in the trees and you're just kind of enjoying the fresh air, the air. And you're noticing everything because you're not in a hurry about anything. And you're just kind of going with the flow, floating along. Now, if you were to walk that same path again, it would not be the same. It will have already changed. Each time you walk that road, it is different. And it doesn't mean that you notice it, but it is. Even the road beneath your feet has changed. The trees, the life, the energies all around you. And when I say we were born, we're talking about the bodies, okay? But we, the gods that we are super highly intelligent beings. All of us, every one of us. Then when they start blending in the physical material, right, the body, people get confused because we're nothing like these bodies at all. These bodies are a very unusual life form for us to inhabit, to experience touch and senses and emotions and many things that we don't do as our natural state, which is pure consciousness. And this is why we get so hooked on the physical, because we have so much fun with it. And then after a while, what happens, most of us, we get sedentary. We don't notice things. You ever remember when you were a kid, right? And what did you want to do all the time? Play. You wanted to play. And most of the time you had unlimited energy because you could just go and go and go and go and go. But as time went by, through other people's thoughts, you were programmed to move out of that. And you got to take life serious. You're a full-grown adult. You can't be a child anymore. You have to be this life is serious. You know, you've got to take life seriously. See, this is all programming. Instead of you saying to yourself, I look at this life as a temporary journey, as part of my endless journey. So I know this body is not forever, and I eventually will leave it. So I'm going to enjoy my life. See, that's more of an understanding. And people do this. Because I'm here to enjoy my life, not to fight with it, not to judge it, not to destroy it. I'm here to enjoy it. Every single bit of it. But you've noticed, have you ever felt heavy? Heavy. I don't mean weight-wise, but just a heaviness. It isn't fatigue, okay? It's not any of that, but you feel heavy. And when you move around, you feel burdened. And the interesting thing about this is that when you witness people, because remember, you're not judging, you're watching. So you witness others, and let's say they come into fame and claim and money and riches and all the stuff, right? But they seem to be the most miserable. Not all of them, but the majority. Why is that? Why is that? It's because they never, ever discovered who they are and what they are within those bodies. They're totally living in the ego mind. I had someone say to me, not too long ago, that this person had already made all the money they could ever imagine. And they said to me, I have a house, I have a car, I eat steaks and drink wine. What do I need all this money for? And people are waking up on this planet. There's a lot of people that, and I'm not saying all of them, but there are many starting to come full circle and say, what the heck am I doing? Because when we begin to embrace who and what we are, and we start to understand that, hey, wait a minute, I'm here to help the civilization because I'm part of it. Why would I try to destroy the civilization of which I'm part of? And when you start to understand, you see all these gods in bodies that don't know they're gods in bodies, that they think they're bodies, and they wish to eliminate all the parts of themselves, which is the civilization. And all the people on this planet cannot run from it. But we are here to assist each other. Many different ways. And we're here to become one big family. Genuinely. And we're not talking from, the Johnsons and the Billings and the all the different names and heritages and everything. We're one big family called mankind, humanity, however you want to label it. We're a civilization that's on the brink of finally turning the corner. Now, we have tried this many times and failed. So the civilization was completely wiped from the planet, and it started over again. We've done it several times. But this time is much different because we've turned the corner and we're continually waking up. It's by choice. It's also some influence from the higher frequencies that are literally saturating us every split second. It kind of burns away, melts away the blocks, the fears, the frustrations, the angers, irritations, confusions. It melts them away. Not like a blink of the eye, but you feel yourself no longer being heavy. You don't feel heavy anymore. There's a tad bit there. It's like, those of you who have experienced the fact that you had a bunch of stuff, right? Had a bunch of stuff. And then all that stuff was gone. And you if you're fortunate enough, you embrace that and go, you realize that you don't have a care in the world. You're not burdened. And the reason that you were burdened to begin with is because you were so attached to the stuff, say, and fearful to lose the stuff. And it isn't ironic that when we do leave these bodies, and it's all left behind. No matter what you did is left behind. No matter what you accomplished, no matter what fortune you built, no matter how many houses you owned, nothing. It all stays behind. So then you realize that it's all temporary. Anything that you buy is temporary. Anything, whatever house you live in is temporary. And that's spot on. We don't have anything permanent. That's why this outer world is always constantly changing. That's why the planet has seasons, so that we don't have the same pattern all the time. You ever figure that out? You got a planet that has different quadrants and zones that are totally different than the others. You have desert, right? Where nothing really grows. It's cold at night, hot in the day. You have tropical forests, totally different from the deserts. You have oceans and water areas. It's the variety is spectacular. But we don't look at it that way because we're so entrenched and the emotionality of physical material. And it doesn't mean that you go out there and you just amass whatever you choose, knowing that it's temporary. Okay? It really makes a difference to your perspective and your gratitude. Because your gratitude starts to expand. When you're looking at something and you're saying, the day is going to come where I will not be able to hold this, wear this, enjoy this. So while I have it, while it's temporarily in my possession, I will enjoy it. And if I don't enjoy it, I'll give it to someone else who can enjoy it. See, this is all interchangeable. Because eventually, every single one of us will discover who and what we are in these bodies. It's an inevitability. Some may take lifetimes yet to come. Others may be in this very time and moment. They're just finally discovering and unraveling the mystery of who and what they are in those bodies. This increases vibrational frequency. And when you really get to the core of who and what you are, you will know that you are all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. You will know that you are a creating, manifesting machine, and you create things. It's what we all do. We create our lives. We create the things in our lives. Whether they be dark, dooming, gloomy, or flourishing, wonderful, and bright. But we do, all of us, create those things. And eventually, as we transcend, we will begin to understand is that we will be careful and responsible on what we create for ourselves and others. We won't be reckless abandon like we are now because we don't have any grip on it. We don't have any harnessing, so to speak. It's just reckless abandon because most of us don't even know it. And the instant we forget about the great mystery of this life, we initiate the suffering process. Every experience of this life thereafter becomes a challenge. As we live from the head, as most do on this planet, in this very now, we live from the head and not from the heart. The mind is a master of continuously getting lost and believing all its inner thought structures are real. And they're the opposite. They are not real. And when our intellect holds tight onto fixed beliefs, it thinks that this life will feel more manageable, giving the illusion of control and the sensation that we are becoming wiser. Yet, this hard-coded, know-it-all mindset demolishes our childlike curiosity and abolishes any form of reverence for this deeply sacred divine mystery. Curiosity, as we all are, very curious. We're very curious beings. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. One cannot help but be in awe when he contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life. of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. Albert Einstein, he was right. Do any of you know what is that? You've heard this term, human psyche, right? Do you know what that is? The human psyche. It is the accumulation of other people's thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that we've adopted and inherited as our own. Can you see why? You see the proof of it? All you've got to do as the watcher to look outside and see it. Every generation, history, everything repeats itself over and over and over again. It seems like you're on a hamster wheel and you're never getting anywhere, right? The human psyche is the accumulation of other people's thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that we've adopted and inherited as our own. All these beliefs form the entire experience of ourselves, other people, this world, our entire reality. The way we think, how we think, why we think, this way and not that way, is the core network of our psyche and makes us behave more like predictable machines than alive cosmic organisms. But, however, the human psyche has a magical side to it, in that whatever we accept as the truth becomes what we actually manifest physically into our lives. This may be one of the most awesome mysteries mankind has to explore. Our foundational belief structure is so powerful, pervasive, and penetrating that it always manifests itself in every single possible outcome and experience we have. And the kicker to it is, this universe always supports whatever you believe. If deep down you believe you are not a lovable person, and have you met people like that? You sense it, that deep down that they believe that they are not a lovable person? This universe will constantly manifest for them the most challenging people, negative situations, and experiences that support this belief that they have inside. If you truly believe you are lovable, this universe will slather your life with sweet, loving beings devoted to caring about you, honoring you, caring for your needs in the most intimate, vulnerable ways. This intelligent universe, universal energy, simply follows thought. Whatever you believe about you is where the energy flows and manifests into the entire show all around you. We get distracted. We're not saying that any of this is what we're experiencing, but it's to be aware of it is our next phase in our development as a civilization. In this highly technological age, we have all these gizmos and gadgets. They're fun, aren't they? And people begin to believe, and do believe, that in this now, that science is easier than religion. And I'm talking not man-made religion. If and when you can prove God is real in a lab, then it must be true. How ridiculous is that? What's fascinating about this time frame in our lives, in this now moment, is that the quantum physicists of this world have ventured so deep into particles that they've had to leave the science and merge. Merge to where? Where have they had to go? Spiritual context. Because their scientific applications have hit a dead end. Quite interesting, isn't it? Their practical Newtonian vocabulary doesn't have the words to explain the outrageous results they are finding. They're having to use more spiritual words and concepts to bridge the understanding of these hard-coded scientific results. Everything is alive and conscious. It has consciousness. In the quantum world, all the particles right down to the orm have consciousness. They determine what direction they're going to bounce, what direction they're going to go. And in doing that, they affect all the particles. Do you think we're any different? We are particles of the one God. All of us are gods. Together, we make up the one, which is what? Pure consciousness. And all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And we're connected to that consciousness, and we can never be separated from that consciousness. And we're in the process of discovering that. Do we need a laboratory to prove to us that God exists when we are the God? You see how crazy that is? The influences of this planet, the human psyche, remember what that is, has convinced the majority of this civilization to believe that they're not the God within the body. Which means what? Which leaves people feeling empty, always seeking something to fill that void. And where do they go? You know, the ones that are totally confused, they go to worshiping dishonesty. And dishonesty has brought through bicameralism many names: Lucifer, Satan, the devil. And remember that when we've talked about bicameralism throughout history, these are just statues. They don't have life, right? They're statues. We have the ability to shift everything in this very moment, and we are. It depends on how aware you are of your thoughts. Not them being aware of you, but you being aware of them. And choosing which thoughts you wish to experience in reality. And the irony to all of this for all of us, maybe when science creates a machine, right, to find, and of course they have, right, supposedly, find the source of consciousness, then mankind will feel like a god. But why take the long road? Why not just look inside your source of consciousness itself and discover real evidence of where consciousness comes from? Realize what consciousness is made of and why it exists, and relax into the greatest innermost mystery of them all. I have the feeling that in order for our world to solve these deep, outrageous questions into the coming times, quantum physicists must merge completely with the metaphysical mindset. What does metaphysical? It means beyond physical. It means spiritual. If modern science is to make any real progress, this is what they're going to have to do. Because where they're at right now is a miscombobulated mess, being driven and run by the ego mind. I'll join you in a meditation and return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Remain still. Life is best viewed as a grand creative project. This body, this mind, this moment of your life is the greatest opportunity to experience being a designer within existence, so that you may discover the divine presence that you truly are. The images you project into this universe always become your reality. Whether they are powerful, warm, sunny, and optimistic, or cold, dark, depressing, and frustrating, you are the grand designer, and this moment is a result of your creativity or lack of it. For today, give yourself several hours to relax and express yourself fully through some creative venue. Pick up a paintbrush, pencil, paper, find a block of clay, write something inspiring on your computer, or have an intimate, revealing conversation with a total stranger or friend. Just do something extra creative today that you enjoy, and let yourself disappear in the creation of it. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning, and we will return here Sunday, May 21st, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of deepest eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what is happening around you.